I like that background music.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's Sarge. Today, Sunday, is a beautiful day, man. I got a couple things going on this morning. I'm talking motorcycling, first and foremost, and I got Earth, Wind, and Fire on, man. Be ever wonderful. And I'm here today with a person who's truly wonderful. Snacks, what's happening, Snacks? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you today? Hey, wait,
Oh,
wait,
I'm,
wait, wait. Before we get into that, one thing you forgot to mention, right?
what's that?
It's your birthday.
Oh, wow. Thank you, ma'am.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you so much. Another year around the sun. So that's what's up, man. I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a round of applause. Hey, man. So it's Sunday. We're talking motorcycle on the Iron Elite podcast, man. I got my beautiful guest, my legendary guest, Snacks, man. So we're gonna get into it for a few minutes, and we're gonna talk motorcycles. So I'm gonna just tell you now, guys, right now on this channel, everybody's welcome. But I'm gonna tell you now, if you don't love riding motorcycles, man, you're gonna be bored on this podcast. I'm telling you, we ain't talking about politics, we ain't talking about what happened on TV last night, we ain't even talking about life itself. We're talking about motorcycling. So I'm gonna let you guys know the Iron Elite podcast is up, it's moving, we're rocking, we're rolling. So man, y'all can stay tuned. I'm gonna have great guests on, just like Snacks, and we're gonna talk about the greatest pastime, hobby, passion in the world, and that's everything motorcycling. So, with that being said, man, hey, I appreciate you guys here today. You could be anywhere, but I appreciate you guys here with us on this beautiful Sunday. So, hey, Slacks, if you don't mind, let's do an introduction. I know everybody know who you are, but we're gonna tell them who you are anyway. So, if you don't mind, let's do a quick introduction, if that's okay.
All right, all right. Hey, everyone. Snacks. I actually am out of the DF Dub, Dallas Fort Worth area. Been riding. Well, actually, I ride with Two Deep WMC. I've been riding motorcycles since I was about 8 years old with my dad. My passion comes from my dad, and I ride quite a bit, but when you think about riding, I think I'm still a rookie in this whole ground pounding area. People talk about it all the time. I'm still learning. One of the things that I love to do is go places where cool things are. So when you ride with me, you expect to stop and you expect a U-turn and you expect that I have multiple stops along the way. So we're not trying to get to point A, from point A to point B, which I think helps with all of my what I call adventures and my new stage of riding, which is adventure riding. So let me first, before we even get started, I want to this ride that has me here with Sarge talking preparation and riding is the Pan American Highway Ride. And to do that, I need to first of all say thanks to several folks who helped me get through this, and then we'll get into the agenda. But first of all, Sarge, thank you, because you and the Iron Elite team and quite a few of the others in Facebook and all around kept following and inspiring me to go further. So each time, the comments say this is great, it really helps when you're out on the road, especially for that long. Um, Phenom, out of Atlanta, um, she was the one that came up with the idea. She sent me a random text one day, said we should do this. And so that's what started this. And I wouldn't have thought about it if it hadn't been for her sending out that text. Greg Rice, probably a lot of you guys know Greg. He's in a lot of the IBA. I don't personally know him, and I don't even think I've ever met him, but I followed him on YouTube and I followed him on Facebook, and he did a ride to Panama. And the instructions that he left, the border crossings, I followed all of that. And what that did, it helped me with confidence to build this ride or to even think that I can achieve this ride. And then quickly, my Two Deep family, they always support me. They think I'm crazy because I want to go do all this crazy stuff, but they always support me. And what they do is give me confidence. So when I'm out on the road, no matter what happens, I know I am a phone call or not a phone call away from getting support and help. So, and then I met two brothers along the way, Roy and Raphael. When I started this journey, I was on my own. At the border of Mexico, I met two people and they were not serial killers. That was the first question we asked. But they took me under their wing and also helped me through the process. Llama Motorcycle Club Association. This could have been a ride from point A to point B, but every single city or country we went into, someone took us under their wing and showed us the best of that, which really made the adventure even greater. And then I followed several YouTubers, Itchy Boots, Screw It, Let's Ride. And then finally, I would say Foxy with the Proc. She called me one day while I was at the border in Panama. And this was the first time that I realized what I was doing was really something different. And that all the people that I was inspiring by going through this, for me, it was just a ride. But as it kept going, lots of people, and I've heard it, I don't know how many times, were inspired that I could do this, and I did do it as a female on a motorcycle. So thank you again, Sarge.
Awesome stuff, man. I can't wait as you were recapping and talking and thanking people. I'm gonna just say this, man, before we get this whole ride story thing started. I'm gonna say, when you made that ride, and I want to say it's been what, a little over a year now.
Well, no, it's almost. I started January 13th, so this year.
Oh yeah. So I'm thinking, as I'm watching, and everybody's telling me, hey man, hey, Snacks is getting ready to do this Pan American highway ride. She's going down in South America and doing all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm watching. So as I started watching, it started becoming must-see TV. So now I went from just casually popping in to see how things are going. Now I'm going every morning. So when I wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, I'm watching your ride. I work the night shift. So for those who don't, I work the late evening shifts. So when I'm done at the end of the night at work, I'm popping on again. My phone once I get home, take a shower, whatever, and I'm watching to see what Snacks had done throughout the whole entire day. So man, it was just like it was a TV show. It was a complete TV show for us. Thrills and frills and pictures and crazy stuff. I'm seeing what's those things? Pacas or llamas? What is those?
Pacas.
Yep. I'm seeing all kind of weird livestock walking across the road as you're riding, but it was a beautiful journey. So I thank you, Snacks, for even taking that journey, sharing that. So we're gonna go ahead and set the stage. Okay, so the Pan American Highway. First of all, what is the Pan American Highway for those that don't ride outside of this city? What is that highway? And what does it consist of?
Yeah, so it's a collection of highways to connect North America all the way through South America. So depending on which way you go, it starts at Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, and ends in Ushuaia, Argentina. And it takes you all, like I said, all along through Canada, through the US, and then through Panama, and then through Argentina. There's one piece of it that only a few people ever have crossed, and that's the Darien Gap. And so the Darien Gap, we flew the bike across the Darien Gap to the other side of Colombia. But it's the collection of highways that take you through there.
Okay, awesome. So real quick, where the Darien Gap, is that near Panama or okay, in that particular area?
So it's so as you're going down South America, it's the bottom of Panama, and there's a jungle, and this jungle's about 80 miles, and it's literally a jungle. So it's very dangerous to go through there. You have well, I haven't been through there, but this is what's read. There's cartel, there's drugs, any and everything. Plus, there's no road that actually connects it.
Okay.
This is also the place where when people are talking about immigrants risking their lives, they're going through the Darien Gap.
Okay. Okay.
So that part, most people fly over or they take a boat around.
Okay. Awesome stuff. So we okay. If you don't mind, I like to set this in two stages. I like to first, if we can, let's talk. Let's split the Pan American Highway from. Let's look at it from going down to South America first, if you don't mind.
Mhm.
Is that okay? 'Cause
Yep.
that's my favorite. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's my favorite. So
The other stuff was preparation for the South America side.
that's right. That's right. So the northern trip was to prepare for the southern trip. If you had to line them up, what was the most challenging, the southern or the northern?
Oh, definitely the Southern.
I think so too. I think the southern is
Though,
real grown folks motorcycling stuff.
though going through the up to Prudhoe Bay,
Mhm.
the Antigua Pass in the snow. I mean that ain't no joke
Yikes.
either.
Yikes. Yeah, yikes. Me don't do cold weather riding too good. I'll do it if I got to, but it ain't nothing I do for pleasure. So
Yeah.
next let's okay. So the bike that you took down south, the bike that you took to South America, what kind of bike was that?
So they call it an adventure bike. It's Harley's, I'm gonna say first adventure bike. Though they had something similar way back, way back in the days in their beginnings, but it's their only adventure bike. Adventure bike meaning that it's on and off road. It's nothing like my road glide, so it's closer to fully loaded around 600 pounds. My road glide's a little heavier than that.
Mhm.
But this bike is meant to do off-roading. And when people think about the Pan American Highway, north and south, um, I think they say 90% of the world is unpaved. So I wanted to make sure that I had a bike that I was comfortable off-roading with. I was also comfortable picking it up if I had to by myself. I can pick up my road glide, but when I'm riding across gravel and washed out roads, I don't want to mess up my road glide like that. So
Oh,
the
for
Pan
sure.
America was excellent.
So a Harley Davidson adventure bike, because I don't know the real name of that motorcycle.
Pan America.
Uh, okay.
So it made sense get the Pan America bike to ride the Pan American Highway.
That part. Harley Davidson made it just for that. So
It's for real.
so a bike like that, what are we talking? 20, 23,000 bucks for that?
Yeah.
A brand
So
new one?
the Pan America, I don't. One of the cool things about this is I was the first person to ride the Pan America Highway. I mean the Pan America Highway on the Harley Davidson Pan America.
Right.
But first year it came out, it was around 18,000. I think now it's around 23,000. But
Thanks
here's
thanks to you. You done make the bike make the bike famous now.
there's a few of us who have done that. Um, but you can also you don't have to have a Pan America. My bike was a unicorn in South America.
Wow.
Most people are riding BMWs or Kawasaki. They're all riding something else,
Mhm.
Himalayans. Um, but when you see a Harley go into South America, you are definitely a unicorn.
Yeah, so for a ride like that, you suggest enduro type bike, a street and dirt bike, or you think a street bike would be totally fine for a ride like that?
So yeah, I wouldn't do it on a street bike. That's me. But there's people out there doing it. I think Fetty, one of the Hokahay riders, he's out there, and he was out there around the same time on a ultra
Wow.
classic.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna say my skills are not like his.
Right.
I like to feel confident in my skills, but I'm not that confident in my skills.
Mhm.
So it can be done.
Mhm.
but most people, probably 99% of the riders you see out there are on adventure bikes,
Okay. Okay. So
and
take us to
usually much smaller adventure bikes.
okay. So okay, could you say yours was what, 600 pounds?
Yeah, but it's a 1250.
Okay.
Um, so it gets up. It has all the power of any of the big bikes out there.
Mhm.
But I think you'll see when you're riding, people are typically in 250, 350, 700s, but you very rarely see the big BMWs or the big, well, you don't see the Pan Americans. There's probably five of us that are taking that journey.
Okay. Okay. Also, you can put a lot of gear on it. Am I correct? Because I saw you loaded down pretty well. So
Look, I was pretty packed. And I have people reaching out to me. I think Popoff reached out to me. She's like,
Mhm,
so main thing I want to know is about your load.
mhm,
Yeah, I going that far, I have the tendency to overpack anyway, but I try to keep, what are the safety things that I need?
mhm.
What are the mechanical things that I'm gonna need? What if I don't make it to a hotel?
True.
Then what am I gonna do then? So, none of that I can leave at home.
Right. Right. That's
So the my bike in so first of all, when you have these adventure bikes and you're going
mhm,
off-roading, you expect your bike to fall.
true.
That's an expectation. So
I
they're
if
built differently than
if
like our road
if
glides.
you don't, you're setting yourself up. You set yourself up for some real disappointment. Just go
So
ahead and expect it.
there were probably at least 5 times where my bike tipped over. I wasn't on it, but it just tipped over. It'd be sitting in a parking lot, and when
Mhm,
you're riding like that, the ground's not always even, so you got a little tilt. But I am not the best packer, and I
mhm,
didn't do a good. When I left, I weighed everything on each of my bags to make
mhm,
sure I was balanced. But each night when you pack and unpack, unpack,
mhm.
that balance has a tendency to change. And like I said, my bike tipped one time. I went to a gas station, came back out, and it was like my bike was sitting wheels up, like it died. That's how upside down it was. I just
Really?
flipped it back over, or I didn't. We flipped it
Uh-huh.
back over and then jumped back on it.
Okay, okay. We're gonna talk about that one. Okay, good, good. All right, so let's go from the preparation stage, if you don't mind. How long did you took to prepare, and then what are some things that we need to know to prepare to get ready to do this long distance ride, and also to be able to be prepared to cross so many international borders?
Yeah. So I actually kind of prepared about a year in advance. So when we talk about the northern part of the Pan American Highway, that was actually part of the preparation. Is taking my bike to make sure I can handle it the way I need to going up north.
Mhm,
And I'm familiar with Canada, so that was pretty. I didn't have much stress about that. But going south, I had a lot more stress because, I visited, but I've never driven in or ridden my bike in South America. So I started planning about a year in advance. And what I did, and what I do with all my trips that aren't just easy trips, is I start a spreadsheet. And on my
mhm.
spreadsheet, I put days along one side, and then I put my starting point and my ending point, and then how many miles that I'm going to go.
Okay, okay.
Then from that, I say, okay, this mileage or this town, well, when I'm selecting the ending place, I'm selecting it based on it's one of the bigger cities, bigger towns, and there's most likely to have a hotel or a place that I can sleep
Okay.
safely,
Okay.
especially when I'm traveling by myself. So the other thing that I take into consideration are the roads and the environment. So um, in South America, I plan to ride 200 to 250 miles each day, which is way different than what I do running up and down the road or the highway here.
Mhm.
And you do that because, well, I did that because one, I'm not sure of the conditions of the road. Two, part of this journey is actually seeing and doing things. So I'm not going to ride at night ever. And you don't want to ride at night. So not just me, anybody, you don't want to ride at night in South America. And even the South Americans will tell you don't do it. But I made sure that I had, that's how I decide where I'm going to stay each night. So by putting that plan together and breaking the whole trip, I think it was 57 days that I should have been gone.
Wow.
I ended up being gone, I think 85, 87 days, but I planned it in 57, which is doable and doable for me to see what I need to see. I forgot where was I going on this?
We're still in the preparation phase.
Yeah.
And I think
So by planning it out like that, it helped me with knowing where I was going to go and whether I could make it. So then once I planned it out, then I had to, I put that plan aside.
Okay.
Because then I started looking at YouTube, reading notes, reaching out to people that I saw that were actually out on the road in South America. Where do you get your bike serviced? Did you have any problems, especially with being a Harley? I know a lot of people laugh about that, but being a Harley, there's not a lot of those adventure bikes out there. And part of once we got into the ride, part of the struggle was being able to get parts for the Harley, just basic parts, filters. But I did that. So planning the route gave me confidence. The next thing was making sure that I packed properly. And when I say pack, I have a tendency to bring a lot of clothes, but I was trying to be as minimal as possible since, I was on the road for so many days. I brought I call it my monkey suit, but it's my climb gear, which is my over jacket, and base layers. And I packed probably 3 or 4 base layers of different levels. So for cool weather, for hot weather, so that I always feel protected wearing my gear. I also packed like jeans. Typically we ride jeans. I decided I wasn't going to wear jeans. I was just going to wear my gear. I only packed 1 pair of jeans, which I actually lost somewhere in Honduras doing laundry. They did laundry and didn't bring my jeans back. So I was jeanless, which is bad. So I wouldn't do that.
Hey, do not wear jeans in Honduras. You hear me?
Well, no. If you do, bring more than 1 pair. I'm like running around in shorts because I don't have jeans now. The other thing that was huge is the border crossings. And this is the biggest part of preparation. Most of the stuff you can prepare for all the time. But each time you cross a border, you have 4 steps. You bring yourself in, which I think most of us are probably pretty familiar with that. You show your passport, they get you in. The harder part is bringing your bike in. When you bring your bike in, you have to prove that it is your bike. And mostly the only way they'll let you bring it in is if you have your title for your bike. And your title the name on your title needs to match your passport. And then your VIN number needs to match your title paperwork and the description. So understanding that process is tricky. So you check yourself in, then you check your bike in, and then before you leave the country, you check yourself out, check your bike out, then you check yourself in again to the next country, check your bike into the next country. And then each one of those border crossings, you have to know whether or not you have to have insurance. Most of the countries require you to have insurance. I think Geico says that they have Mexico insurance or international insurance. I would tell you that's not okay. So don't waste your time getting the international insurance on Geico, because you're going to need to get it at the border. In some cases, you can buy that insurance ahead of time. And a lot of cases, there's like just a little shack right across the border or right before the border where you go in and talk to someone. And you have to have cash in most local currency, cash in most cases.
Okay, so you have to buy insurance for that country once you cross into their borders?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's more difficult in Central America than it
Mhm.
is in South America. Central America, from Mexico to Panama,
Mhm.
those border crossings can be simple and then they can be extremely difficult.
Mhm.
Um, because I was traveling, well, I wasn't traveling by myself, but my plan was to travel by myself. And when I planned to make sure that I was close to those borders,
Mhm.
close to the time that they open, because you could, and most times we were there anywhere from 4 hours to 6 hours,
Wow.
depending on the paperwork.
Wow.
Now I created for every single country, which I might have over prepared, but for each country, I created a list that showed all the requirements for that country because they're not always the same.
Mhm.
And so I made my notes on each one of them, and you probably can't read it, but
Nice.
on here it has I need my passport, my visa, all those different things, and I checked it off,
Nice.
and I put it in here, and I put it in this, and I kept it on my tank bag.
There you go.
So not only going across the border, but also when you get through the countries, if you get pulled over, the first thing they want to see is your border paperwork and your
Mhm.
license, not your registration typically, but your title,
Mhm.
and your border paperwork. But on this, it has how much is it going to cost?
Mhm.
So I wrote this to make sure that I'm paying the right amount. So you have the border crossing fee, which in this case for Honduras was $3, a vehicle import fee, which was $35. In Honduras, it wasn't required for us to have insurance.
Is there a website or something that you go to know about these things ahead of time as far as what the border crossing fee is?
Yeah, so usually you can go to their state gov. I always go into state gov US to wherever it is that I'm
Awesome.
going.
Awesome.
So I can see specifically the requirements for me as a US citizen, which may be different than someone coming from Canada or UK or anywhere else.
Mhm.
They're
Okay.
very helpful, though they're not always 100% up to date, right? Because you got to
Mhm.
remember it's the US updating this.
Mhm.
So then I also go to the links that take you to the actual country website to make sure. A lot of times those are in Spanish.
Mhm.
So that's the added difficulty is if you don't know Spanish, which I don't know Spanish, I made little cards so that I could, um, for most common
Mhm.
conversations like the aduana, which is where you import your bike,
Mhm.
and the border crossings, I made common cards so that they could translate. Now, what I found out is not always does Google translate your what you're saying into what you're intended to say. So there's um, different words that can be used differently in that translation. So you'll want to have someone who understands Spanish check your translation if you're going to do something like that.
Isn't there an app, that you can put on your phone that translate
Hmm.
uh, uh, Spanish and that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Is it called Babbel? Is it
There's
something?
there's there's Babbel. There's quite a few different apps, and you can also do
Mhm.
Google Translate, right?
Translate. Okay,
So
yeah, yeah, okay.
for kind of common things, it works very well.
Mhm.
For things that are not as common, the words in English don't necessarily translate over into Spanish the same way.
I got you. I got you.
So you have to be careful. The other thing you have to be careful of is you don't always have signal. And most of the time, where you need it is where you don't have signal.
Right, right. So would you say as well to if you can afford it? I mean, back in the day when we were using satellite phones, they were really, really expensive. I don't know how expensive those things are today, but maybe perhaps a satellite phone as a backup or something like that would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I've heard people do a lot of they'll buy SIM cards in each
Okay.
country.
Okay.
And I considered that. Couple things. One is That's not something I've really done before, so it would be a different practice for me. So anything that was new or different, I try to stay away from, because when you're on the road and you're in the moment, it's for me, it's difficult to wrap my mind around trying new things.
Yeah, for
Like
something,
especially
yeah,
things that really require me to think about it,
yeah, you be getting
not
stressed
sec
out over
yeah.
foolishness. Yeah, you want to be doing things like what you do, like you know, every day, back pocket type stuff. I got you on that. And I'm a creature of habit, and I love. There we go. There
So
we go.
this is my InReach, my Garmin InReach
Hmm.
Explorer, and it's a bigger one, but this is satellite. So what I did is I create a contact list in this, and I
Hmm.
send it to the people that I want to follow. It works very similar to Glimpse
Hmm.
or 360, any of those types of things that run through your phone,
Hmm.
except for this is on satellite. So because this is on satellite, uh, even when I was at the top of the Andes at 1,800 feet, I pressed this little button here, and I had somebody reaching out to me immediately.
Yeah, yeah,
I could do absolutely nothing with this at all.
yeah, yeah. Modern technology, man. Sometimes you get out in no man's land. You're right. We used to call those in the Marine Corps. We used to call those pluggers.
Is that what it is?
Well, yeah. I mean, and ours were big back then because I was in the beginning of the technology. But yeah, or I think Magellan. It was
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Magellan, and the Garmin came on board once I was getting ready to retire. So it started off as something this big, and then next before too long, you're gonna be able to put that in your top pocket with
Well,
technology.
this is a big one, and I got the big one because I can actually text on it. I don't know
Hmm.
if it turns on, but I can actually text on it. So when I press this button, when my buddy Roy went down,
Hmm.
um, they immediately came back to me, like probably within a minute,
Hmm.
and asked me, "Are you with Roy?"
Awesome, awesome.
And so that gave me the confidence to know that his machine, which was on his bike,
Hmm.
activated on its own.
Hmm.
But they could see us together because there was no other way for them to know that we were together.
Hmm.
Now, even with that, they couldn't, they knew where we were, but we were so far out there. We were up at the top of the mountains in Peru near Cusco, and there would have been no way possible for them to get anyone to us um, quickly.
Hmm.
So even though we had this, they knew where we were, so we could communicate. Um, it still was going to be 4 6 hours before somebody could come help us.
Yeah, yeah.
But it does give some level. The other thing is you can get different plans with these, and this is a big one. There's smaller ones, much smaller ones. Some you can text, some you can't. I can link this to my phone so that I have a bigger screen to text.
Hmm.
Um, but there's different ones, but you can get different plans. So you can pay, $10 a month or, whatever a year. I don't know what it is. Um, and get basic SOS and a few texts. But you can also get life flight. You can get your preferred, I'm going to call it hospital, because I had in my directions that if
Hmm.
something happened to me, they stabilize me and get me to Texas, anywhere Texas first.
That's right.
And you
That's
can do that. And I don't, like I said, I don't know how well that works.
right. Hmm.
Thank God.
Yeah, no
Uh,
kid. We don't want to know.
I don't, and I don't want to know, but it gave
Yeah.
me a sense of a relief knowing that somebody knew where I was.
Mhm. So summing up real quick of what we've talked about. Okay, we talked about the type of bike that we need to be riding. The preferable bike is a adventure bike. Is that fair?
Yeah.
But if you're a bad mofo, you can take street glide, road glide, ultra glide down there and do your thing. We've also talked about, and something that I like that you got this ready kit. She's got the kit with border information, you know, what the cost is, what the procedures are. She's got a list now with her route. Okay, my route. How am I gonna? There you go. We're gonna call that book. What we call that book? What we're gonna call it?
I don't know.
I'm gonna call it the prime directive.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
my planner, I
yeah,
guess.
with the big green monster. There we go. So she's got the big
Also,
green monster.
one of the other things I do with this is because these are sheets, I could probably do better with it. But,
Mhm.
as I go through each country, any documentation I get, I put it in there. So when I come back or if it's needed some other time, there's no problem. I've heard of people going across the border and then in some of the countries, and
Mhm.
then the paperwork was messed up and they couldn't get back into the country.
Yikes.
I think that happened to maybe Greg Rice and those guys when they went back down towards Panama.
Mhm.
But having something like this and having all your documentation clear by each country
Mhm.
would be helpful. The
I see, I
proof.
s- I see somebody said that she's the go to preparation and successful planning. I know that's right. That book that you got is priceless. So we're gonna call it the big green monster. So we got the big green monster. It's telling us how to get across these borders. It's telling us the who, what, when, and where when we're talking about border crossing. So we also got the bike. We also got I'm gonna call it rescue equipment. We got a Garmin or a Magellan, whichever one you want to use, to be able to help you with satellite, navigation or to let people know where you're at. And also, when your cell phone is not working, you know where you're at because you have a no kitten satellite global positioning piece of equipment with you, which is a huge thing. Uh, Now let's because I seen Foxy said the communication thing. Okay, you don't speak a lick. Matter of fact, when you told me that, I died. I said, not a lick of Spanish? Nope. You've navigated a zillion countries, not speaking a word of the indigenous language. So I
Well,
know
I
you
mean,
had the
there are
little.
a couple things I do know, like "Donde
Uh-huh.
este baños?" Like, where's the
All right.
bathroom?
Right.
Dos más cervezas, por
Right.
favor.
So, so how do you prepare for that? I mean, other than you got your couple of flashcards and the Google. So that's really all you had was just the Google translation and maybe a couple little note cards with stuff on it. Am I correct?
So, yes and no. So that's how I prepared because I was going on this ride solo. But I did meet Rafael and Roy, who both speak Spanish. So in
I
Mexico,
lost your volume. I think I lost your volume.
oh, am I not there anymore?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Oh,
Yes.
I can't hear you for some reason.
Uh-oh.
Let's see what we got going on.
Can you guys hear me?
Hello, hello. Don't
I can
have
hear you.
you. Okay. All right, there we go.
Can you
See
guys
if
hear
I
me?
can. What about now?
Foxy said they can
I
hear us both.
can. Let's see if I can get them.
Hello, hello.
And you say you can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, I
Yes.
can't hear you for some reason. Let me hold tight just a second. See what we can do here.
While you're doing that, I'll
Always something.
talk a little bit about the communication. So
Still no volume on you.
I can hear you.
I think it might be on your end, Snacks. Is your mute on your phone?
Nope.
Okay, you just
Unmute.
muted yourself. What
Said
about
they
on
said
your
they
phone
can hear
itself?
us.
Is does your have you given us permission to have your mic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Audio.
we can hear. See, everybody's out there saying they can hear both of us.
Yep. Can you guys still hear me? Yep.
here.
So both Rafa and Roy spoke Spanish.
Still can't hear you at all. Okay. Hey, the devil's trying to mess with me today, but
It's because
we're
it's your
gonna figure this
birthday and
thing.
it's saying, why are you doing this on your birthday?
Because on my end, look like I got you fine with no issues. Let's see. Okay, let me try this. Let me check. Oh,
Can you hear me now? Reef said he hears both of us. Let me try it on my cell phone.
going on.
Okay, I'm gonna jump
Can
off
you
and get on my cell.
test? Okay, can everybody out there hear me okay? If you can hear me okay, can you give me a 1 or thumbs up, thumbs down? Okay, let's see what I can do here. Okay.
Hey,
Okay. Still nothing,
you can't hear me?
holy smoke. I'm gonna
Hey.
try to see. Yikes. Let's see. I don't know. Because I'm getting good sound on my end. Let's see. And then everybody told me they can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. You sound good.
Let's see. I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna try to see if we can pop you back out. Give me 1 second here. I'm go to the audio.
By the way, I like my shirt.
Go to guest. One other trick here. See if I cannot get your audio together. I'm gonna have you snacks. I'm gonna have you come off the feed and call me on the phone. Let me see if I have audio on my my sound processor on your phone. If you don't mind, just pop off and call me
Okay.
real quick. Yeah. Don't know what the heck happened to her. If you appreciate you guys' patience, give me 1 second to see what we can do with this. Man, the devil stay busy. Okay. Okay, so I still got you live, but I got you on the phone. So I know you're I'm trying to figure out if it's something with your mic, but did you hear pop when you came off? When your audio came off? No. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hang up with you, And let's go ahead. I'm going to send you a new link. If you don't mind,
Okay.
you just pop on the new link. Okay. Appreciate you guys' patience. Let's see if I could pop her back on really quick here. Okay, I should be joining her back here in a couple minutes, a couple seconds here.
Can you hear me now?
Nope.
See, I
It's
didn't
one of
touch
those days.
anything at
It's
all.
one of those days.
It says you're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you.
Let's see what I got here.
That's terrible.
I'm gonna power down my audio and see if I can power back up my audio and see what happens. But I'm gonna keep you on the video live. I'm just gonna come off the sound processor.
All right.
Just gonna power down for a second.
So I'll talk about my shirt. If you don't have one, you should get one. This is a nice shirt. I'm always telling people that all of my shirts, I want them to be jerseys because they're so flexible. And when I was writing in South America, I wore jerseys almost every day. This is a thicker jersey, so I like it when it's cooler, but I also have thinner ones that I like to wear, but they're easy. When it's really hot, I pour water on myself, still keep my big jacket on, and I feel safer. But this is an awesome jersey. I can't hear you. Sarge, you're on mute.
What about now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I can't hear nothing from your side at all.
I don't know what's going on. I didn't touch anything.
Okay. Can I see out there everybody said they can hear both of us clearly, but I cannot hear you. I'm trying to figure out what's another way to do this. I'm gonna
Do we want to do another show?
try like this. Okay. Okay, so
Hey, I heard something.
Okay. I tell you what. And are you on live with me on your phone or a
No,
computer?
on my computer.
Yes.
But I'm not sure what would have changed on my end. I didn't touch anything. Hey there.
Okay, so I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna go ghetto style here. I'm gonna keep you on audio on your phone if that's okay. You could just have your phone. I'll keep you on audio. That way, at least I can still hear you. I got you on StreamYard, so we're gonna put this thing together with banding wire and bubble gum if you don't mind. So hey man, welcome to the Ghetto Ratchet Podcast. The devil stay busy. So if you don't mind, I want to try to catch back up because we lost some time really fast. So you know, I think when we left off is when we were talking about dealing with the language. Is that what we're talking about last?
Yeah.
But you said for the most part you had very little problem. You did have a cheat card that you barely touched on, and that was Roy who spoke Spanish. Am I correct?
Yeah. So Roy, can you guys hear me?
Can everybody hear her in the chat? If you don't mind, just give me a thumbs up or something like that if you can hear her. Let's see. I don't know if
I don't see
let's
anyone
see.
say they hear me.
Yeah, I don't either. Let's see. I can
Hold
hear
on.
you.
Let me put
Let's see.
my.
Yes, a slight echo. So I know that's the echo probably coming from my phone. They said they could hear us both.
Okay, I probably should put
Okay.
on my earphones, but
Okay.
uh,
Yeah, that way you don't get a
yep.
bleeding over your. Okay. Okay. Y'all hold tight. We're still gonna do this, man. And that's what happens on the road when you get a flat tire or shift link that you go out or something like that. You figure this thing out and you keep it pushing.
Can you hear
Okay, you
me?
good? Yeah, I can
Can
hear you fine. Yeah, I can hear you.
All
So
right.
so you were saying now?
Yeah, so I met Rafa and Roy at the border. Rafa hung out with us all throughout Mexico, showed us the ins and outs. Um, and then Roy, we continued on through Peru. So I really didn't have a need to speak Spanish because most of the conversation was going through Roy. Now, that was a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because he speaks fluent Spanish. We can get and everything was pretty easy. A
Mhm.
couple things that made that bad. One is when we split off, I was used to having him, so now it was me, and I hadn't been practicing my Spanish because one, it wasn't a need, but two, when conversations are happening, they're going so fast, and I'm not ready. I'm not that quick. I can get
Oh
key
yeah, yeah.
words, key phrases, but I wasn't that quick. Um, and that's so a funny thing with that too is because Roy was getting all the conversation. Like we'd stop at a gas station and they don't always have toilet paper in the bathrooms, and they'd ask him in Spanish if he needed toilet paper, and he'd say no. So then they
Mhm.
wouldn't give me toilet paper either. And I was trying to figure out why is there no, I was so frustrated. I'm like, why am I not getting toilet paper? I don't understand it because he keeps telling them no.
Mhm.
So it would have helped had I known that phrase to get toilet paper. I had wipes though, but that
Hey man, it's the little things that count.
it's the
It's the
little
little things
things
that
you don't
count.
think of.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
When we
So
when we broke up though, when he came home, I still continued down and I was able to still use some of my Spanish. But in a lot of cases, especially when you get to South America, to Chile and Argentina, a lot of people there speak English. And as long as you treat people with respect and you try, then they usually try as well. And they're
awesome,
more
awesome.
forgiving if you don't say it perfect.
Okay. So let's talk, if you don't mind, let's talk about the maintenance parts, that type of that. Let's talk about that. How was planning for that? How did you execute that if there's an issue going on with your bike?
Yeah. So prior to getting on the road,
Mhm.
I had my tires changed, brand new chain. Even though it wasn't required, I wasn't at an interval for them to be changed. I wanted to make sure that I was giving myself the best chance to win. So
Mhm.
I changed everything out that I could change out. Um, and then I mapped out because I have a Harley, where the dealerships were along the way that I
Mhm.
knew I would need to have service. So when I say think service, there was two things. One is getting my oil change, and then two is a change of tires.
Mhm.
Um,
So that pretty easy with Harley dealerships? Or they I'm
yeah,
sure they're probably abundant in some countries and not so hot in others.
so yes and no, right? So there's quite a few Harleys in South America, but they don't
Mhm.
always have the parts that you need. And because my bike is it's a unicorn, it's there was probably 5, 6 of them in South America as a whole.
Mhm.
Even when you go to Harleys here, people don't have a lot of experience with them. So
Right.
um, that part was not as easy. Luckily, my bike didn't need a lot of maintenance. I had to have a tire replaced. We went to a local shop. The local shop wasn't not a tire, excuse me, a wheel. So my
Mhm.
front wheel was bent because we were riding in the potholes at
Mhm.
night, which I said I wouldn't do. But it was difficult. So I rode with a wobbly bike from Barranquilla, Colombia to Medellin, Colombia, where they had one. They swapped it out, no problem. In Peru, we knew we were going to go up the Andes to the mountains, so we
Mhm.
decided to change out all of our tires at that point. They have many motorcycle shops, and most of the motorcycle shops, though, are built for much smaller bikes than the bikes that we were on.
Mhm.
So you really have to be careful. You'll find them. Luckily, we had the Llama Motorcycle Association folks there to help guide us to places that would have parts for our bikes. But I mean, those are pretty simple: wheels, tires. The other stuff, Roy had problems with his bike. There were no parts available. So the local llamas actually
What kind of bike did Roy have?
same. We were just so
Okay.
happened we were on the same bikes going through. But yeah, they
Okay.
didn't have the parts available. He needed a fuel I'm gonna mess this up, a fuel pump, fuel filter. He
Mhm.
had filters, but the part that was torn, the Harley dealerships, they weren't equipped and they didn't diagnose it, but the llamas did. So
Okay. Okay.
if I was gonna
Oh.
give you a nugget from that, if you're gonna go south, use your connections. I think we all have people that we know, um, or have met from any of the countries down south, but there's a whole network. Like there are the first thing they'll do is get you on WhatsApp. If you haven't been on WhatsApp, look, I was about to show that's my phone, that's you. If you haven't been on WhatsApp, WhatsApp is what typical people use outside of the country instead of texting. It's Wi-Fi texting. So on WhatsApp, they have these groups, and there's people all over South America, or you could be in different groups. But in this case, you could write in there a question. They have them for English and for Spanish. What you need, what your question is,
Mhm.
and they will help you. And if they know you're coming their direction, in most cases, they'll have somebody meet you. I mean, the love all along the ride and the support was amazing. I met a guy in Alaska. He was from Mexico, and
Wow.
he connected me with so many people in South America on my trip. So these are people I've never met before,
Yeah.
but I always felt like somebody was with me.
It's something to those networks, isn't it?
I can't hear you. Sorry, I don't know what's going on.
Okay, let me see. Let's see. Uh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's something to those networks. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Can't. I mean, well, you can do it without it, but man, I tell you, leverage is something else. So make relationships. I'm telling you now, if you didn't take nothing else away. So okay. So we done talked about border crossings. We've talked about the big green monster that has all this valuable information to help you with the whole immigration get down, the insurance, the times, the border places, the routes, um, hotels. Did we speak about hotels? I thought maybe that might have been the last time we talked, but uh did you make connections for stuff like hostels and those type of things, or you just really played it by ear?
For the most part, played it by ear.
Okay.
Um, so depending on which country we were in, if we were just on the highway, like when we were in Colombia, we
Mhm.
literally would stop at a gas station when it started getting late and ask the gas station attendant, where's the place to stay? And in a lot of cases, those were right at the gas station where they had rooms available, and
Mhm.
they also had restaurants right next to it. The other thing is we use booking.com. So I know a lot of us have different websites we use, Expedia, whatever it is. The one that I found that was most effective was Booking.com, and Booking.com connected us with Airbnbs, hostels, and even hotels. I would tell you that most of the places I stay were as good or better than any of the local chains that we would find in the US, the
Wow. Wow.
Marriotts, etc.
Wow.
Now,
So it was.
there were a few that were not as nice,
Mhm.
but they gave us, the necessities.
Right, right. So you wasn't really dealing with too many what,
This is
what
my sleeping bag.
oh,
Well,
there we
it's
go.
puffed out now, but
Yeah,
it shrinks down
yeah,
pretty low.
yeah.
What I
A
would tell you
sleeping
is,
a sleeping bag could be an Airbnb too, if need be.
well, but there were several times where I just pulled it out and laid it on top of the bed, and then I felt comfortable sleeping.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I can imagine every mattress is not clean. I can imagine it's not
But I would say though, for the most part they did a good job. It was
awesome.
I felt comfortable in most cases. There was one I was like, well, there was a couple I was like, nah, not again.
No, thank you. So let me ask you. So currency. Let's talk about currency because again, this is not like going to the Arctic Circle or going to Alaska and you're dealing with two currencies, American currency and then Canadian money. And this one, you dealing with a lot of people's funny money. So what was our plan to deal with the currency issue?
So ahead of time, I ordered most of the local currency. Anything I could order ahead of time, I ordered through my bank. And so I had about anywhere from $100 to $200 in in most of the currencies on myself. And the reason why is mostly we needed it for the borders. If you didn't have local currency at some of the borders, there were people who were there offering
To
to exchange for you,
right,
which obviously you're not going to get the best rate there. And for me, I'm not comfortable just having random conversations and
for sure,
exchanging money.
for sure.
And then the other thing is that they have ATMs that you could use in some cases, but at the borders, you got to have most cases you have to have cash. They're not interested in credit cards or anything like that. So if
Mhm.
you don't have that cash, you have to go find someone to exchange it for you.
So
I wouldn't come to that.
did you use credit cards at all? Because I know some
Actually,
people say, I'm just going to take my credit card. I'm going to call my bank ahead of time, let them know what I'm going to do. And that way I don't have to deal with exchange currency rates and all that kind of stuff. Uh, did you use credit cards for any countries?
yeah. So I only used cash when I absolutely had to use cash.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, in Mexico, you have tollways, and I took the tollway. So on the tollway, you always want to have cash.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
spent more. I actually had more currency, local currency in Mexico than any of the other countries. Um,
Okay.
but
Well, why
if
is that? Because what is that? Because you spent more time in Mexico?
what
Because just
we spent about 10 days, and we knew we were going to
mhm,
be on tollways a lot of the time. Plus, I'm very
mhm,
comfortable with Mexico as a whole. Just I've been
right.
there several times, so I
Mhm.
knew I was going to spend more there. Um, but I wanted to make sure I had it definitely for the tollways, if nothing else. The other
Okay.
places, if you need cash, you can just use your card and get cash. I try to stay with like what's the name, the BVNA, or I forget the name of the
Mhm,
bank, but global banks,
mhm.
because your credit card, your card, you'll get the best rate. So even if you think you're not getting the best rate while you're there, I just got a refund um, just recently because they charged me the wrong rate in that. So
Oh, okay.
gas stations, most of the gas stations, you can use your credit card. Now, when I say credit card, I'm talking Visa, MasterCard. I'm not talking Discover or American Express.
Okay.
You
So you're talking about
very
the major
rarely will
players.
find anyone to take those two cards. So it's
Okay.
Visa or
So
MasterCard. And they might say, hey, we only take Visa. But what they really mean is Visa and MasterCard.
Okay, so the big major players is what you're talking about. Okay,
Right.
all right. So
But most gas stations took them.
okay, so
Hotels, though, don't necessarily always take them.
most of all the hotels because they're you maybe because you're using some smaller local hotels instead of using the major chains. Is that it?
Yeah, if you're at a
Okay.
major chain, which you'll be able to find quite a few of those along the way.
Hmm.
Most of those you could use credit cards, but if you're going to a hostel, they usually want, $25
Yeah.
American money or equivalent.
Oh, okay.
It's not no credit cards.
Okay. So if you don't mind, there's a couple more things I want to cover um, to make sure we got this thing together. So uh, on the medical side, uh, how do we plan to prepare for we talked about a little bit you had in your notes, say if something happens, get me to Texas, no matter what. But say if I had a roadside fall on my bike and I hurt my ankle or knee or something like that. What was the plan of attack for that? Or did you have a plan for something, a medical emergency? Not like major emergency, but something that didn't want you to fly back to America right away.
Yeah. No, I actually didn't have a huge plan for that. I traveled globally with my job for years. So
Mhm,
what I know is that most countries have what they call embassy, and they
mhm.
have embassy hospitals. So um, I felt comfortable enough with being able to do that. What I just the only thing I was really concerned about if it was something major.
Yeah,
But for
something.
local stuff, I felt very comfortable with the local
Mhm.
hospitals or care.
So did you have for each country you went through, did you have I guess you really don't have to worry about where the embassy is. That's a probably pretty easy find if you have to get to an embassy. Am I correct?
Not
Probably
necessarily.
not. No, no, probably not. Yeah.
And depending on where you're at, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about it. I ain't gonna say it's an easy find, but I'm sure you can find an embassy, American embassy in any country. Uh, typically, I guess we would probably assume that the American embassy is gonna probably be in a capital city of each country. Is that normally how that works?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, did I miss anything so far?
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, so capping this up or almost capping this up, if Sarge was going to South America, how much is it gonna cost me? Because I'm on a because I'm on a budget. I only got a checkers and a savings. That's so. What am I? I mean, and I don't mean a lavish trip, and I don't mean the bargain basement trip. Let's find something in the middle. What would we need to be looking at? Probably more than a
Yeah.
thou wow, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure, more than 1,000. You're gonna
More
pay
than a
that
fa
in
yeah. This
tolls.
ain't an MC run, so Imma need some real grown folks money.
Yeah, I would say at a minimum 5,000.
About $5,000
Um,
to go
so I
from
do extra stuff. I want to take
mhm,
the tour that's the got the best pieces of everything. So
yeah.
I would say at minimum like 5,000. But so let's really break this down a little bit. So your hotels, you can get hotels typically anywhere. Hotels, when I say that, I mean hostels, Airbnbs,
Mhm,
hotels
mhm.
from $25 to $200,
Okay,
depending on where you're at. If you're on the highway, you get it closer to 25. If you're in the big city, it's going to be closer to 200.
okay.
Um, Fuel is very similar to what we have here. We don't get gallons, you get liters.
Right.
But it's basically it's pretty close.
Okay.
Um, if sh- I, Something I had to do was ship my bike. So I flew my bike from Panama to Bogota,
Mhm.
and flying my bike was close to $1,500 over the Darien Gap. So that by itself is a
That's 3 grand
known
by itself.
expense.
Yeah, that's 3 grand right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then riding down the same, coming back across. When I left Buenos Aires, I flew my bike from Buenos Aires to Houston, and that
Oh.
cost me another $2,000. So if you just
Okay.
add those two together, and that's getting all the way to the bottom. Now, I would
Yeah.
say that if you're not hell bent on getting all the way to the bottom, you could ride to Panama and never have to ship your bike. The road goes all the way through. But I ship my bike, so that's what, 25, 35, $4,000 right off the bat,
Yeah. Yeah.
without
That's a
gas, hotel, or your immigration
immigration stuff.
fees.
Okay. Anything that we missed? Anything at all on preparation and how we go about doing it? I thought we were pretty thorough.
I think that if I was going to sum it up into a few things that are kind of huge for me, it's the putting your plan together. Like, where do you plan to be each day? Because by doing that, it gives you the confidence to not do it.
Hmm.
And so it gives you the confidence to be able to explore and do other things. And if you're going to do a ride like that, it just makes sense to explore and do other things, at
Mhm.
least to me. So by putting that plan together, you have that confidence. So you know where you're going to be. You're going to be safe. That allows you to wiggle outside of that. The other thing is make sure you have your money right. If you're going to be on the road
Serious
and
stuff.
you need cash, have
Mhm.
cash.
Yeah.
Um, have your documentation. If I didn't have this, if we didn't have this documentation with us all the time, and I keep this documentation in this bag, but I
Mhm.
separated everything. So when I'm riding in a country, I just have this in my tank bag. And this tank bag has also um, basic things I need. Like if I need Advil, I have Advil in here. If I need a pocket knife or a screwdriver or a wrench, it's in here. But the other thing it does is it also converts over as a backpack. So if I have to leave my bike to go into a store and I'm riding by myself, which I am quite a bit, I just throw that on my back. I have all my important stuff with me.
Yeah.
So I don't have to stress about if somebody's going to take something off my bike. If they do,
Oh, for
they might
sure.
take my clothes, but I'm okay with, I mean, I don't want them to do that, but that ain't
Right.
going to hurt me as much as taking my documents.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
have copies of everything, because when you go across those borders, not only do you have to pay, they want you to have copies. So you have to have at least 2 copies of your title, 2 copies of your driver's license, 2 copies of your visa, or excuse me, your passport. In some cases, you have to have electronic visas, but know what you need to get, know each border, know what hours those borders are open.
Mhm.
Um, and you can get all that online. You can Google it. You can watch other people who have done it.
Mhm.
Um, it's nice. So if I see Foxy asked a
Yeah,
question.
yeah, I caught that about the title. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, the title.
Mhm.
Now you could actually get permission, a written document that gives you permission to take a bike that you're making payments on.
Mhm.
Um, I personally would not recommend that because the amount of scrutiny on your title by itself is a lot. But if I was just going to go to one country, I might consider that. So if I was just going to Mexico, I might consider that. But because I'm going to all these borders, every border is going to be different, and the process, even though it's a similar process, the the I'm going to say the attitude, the feel is all going to be
Mhm.
different.
So registration wouldn't work at all?
Registration is not going to work.
Wow, they
You
wanna
need
make
to
sure you own it.
you need your title, or you need your something signed officially saying that you're able to take that bike. They approve you to take that bike. So if you're financing your bike through Harley Davidson, then
Mhm.
Harley Davidson needs to write something that said they're okay with you taking their bike in that country.
Yikes. Hey, good luck on that. I'm sure you're gonna get that one real fast. I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure Harley Davidson will stop what they're doing and go ahead and give you a permission slip to take their motorcycle somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. because when you were talking about the title, I was thinking to myself, yeah, she probably talking about title and registration,
I'm
but no,
no, no.
you meant title. Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's the detail. That's a real detail. Okay, okay.
They
Any
rarely looked at my registration. There were a couple countries that looked at it, but it was literally the title.
mm, anything else that we left out on the preparation phase? Anything at all?
Preparation.
Okay.
So you know what? One of the things that probably the final thing I would say for preparation is, and I say this with all my rides, it's one step. So if I think about this ride, I had no idea I was going to make it. I planned to make it all the way to the bottom of Argentina, but I had no idea how I was going to do it. So I planned the part from Dallas to Panama,
Hmm.
and I planned the part from Panama to Ushuaia. I mean, excuse me, from Colombia to Ushuaia. I had no idea how I was going to cross that gap.
Wow. Wow.
So in my mind, when I got to Panama, that could have been the end of my ride. But I
Wow.
found, through the networks
Hmm.
while I was out
Hmm.
there that I could take
Hmm.
my bike across. So I was already prepared for that because I planned it ahead of time. But I didn't know. So in my mind, I just took each day as a day, and each day was better than what I did the prior day. And that was my plan. So I wasn't trying to boil the ocean. I was just trying to get to the next day. And
Wow.
by doing that, I think that helped me mentally
Mhm.
get through the entire ride.
Not being overwhelmed. Hey, I'm a take a bite at a time, and I'm gonna move through as
A
we move
bite at
through.
a time.
Yeah, you'd be shocked that you don't put 20 successful days together. It makes it really easy after. It makes it really easy. So awesome. So I'm just again. I think Snacks. You need to write a book. You need to write a book, and or at least a workbook to put it together for people to be able to read and go through these notes and go through your individual checklists. And if you're out there listening, any viewers out there listening that's really paying attention to this, you need to reach out to Snacks. I'm putting her out there, but you need to reach out to Snacks because I guarantee you the wealth of knowledge that she has is going to make for a successful ride and mitigate a lot of issues that can happen out there on the road. We know we have enough issues with just riding in continental United States, but now you got a biker who's bold enough, brave enough, and has the mental fortitude and all that old cool stuff to say, I'm gonna hit several countries and I'm gonna do it mostly by myself, relying on me, myself, and I. Is that kind of accurate? You know, you had a nice network, but you still had to execute the plan. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna say this real quick. I just gotta say that. Hey, drop the mic. Hey, drop the mic. Hey, she's the baddest. I'm telling y'all. Hey, she is the baddest. Uh,
Sarge,
can you?
I had no idea the level of what I was doing. I just knew I was riding each day, but it
Mhm,
really did not hit me until um, I was sitting at the border in Panama. And I think I might have shared this with you before. I was at the
mhm,
border in Panama waiting for the paperwork, another one of these crossings. And Foxy called me and she left me a voice message on my phone, and I just so happened to have signal to listen to it because most of the time the borders don't have signal. And
mhm.
she said, hey, I'm just rooting for you, I'm cheering for you, you're doing it. And I broke out in tears.
Mm.
That was the day that I realized, like, man, I did do something, didn't I? That was pretty darn cool.
You did a lot of somethings. You did a lot of somethings. I'd imagine. I mean, you and I have talked about this several times, and it never gets old to me. I'm a guy. I have an adventurous heart. I'm a guy who love to talk to people and meet people who challenge themselves to do great things. And your ride, what you did, how you did it, It's probably one of the greatest rides I've ever seen or even heard about. And I view a lot of people's rides on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, but I'm saying your ride, in my opinion, I'm going to say this: your ride was the baddest ride I've ever seen. I'm gonna just say that one more time. Your ride was the baddest one I've ever seen.
Thank you.
So as soon as Snacks come out with the workbook or her seminar or webinar or whatever Zoom call class she's gonna have, Sarge is signing up for it. And hopefully everybody's on the page or continue to go to your Facebook page and relive some of your ride that you posted, that you were so kind enough to post for us. And if you know, if you have time or you feel compelled to do so, please share some of that with the Iron Elite page as well, because there are people out there that want to continue to hear the story, watch your story, learn from you to be able to motorcycle great. Any last takeaways for us, Snacks? Anything you want to leave us with?
Well, two things. One is, you know what, never underestimate your network, right? Sarge, I mean, you've done a great job, and I appreciate you. All the folks who are providing encouragement when someone's doing a ride like this, continue to do that. I mean, because we're all out here doing something that, we're, no matter where we're going, we're trying to beat the last ride. So nice work. And then don't be afraid. Planning is everything. And it's not always going to go exactly as you plan. And most of the time it won't. So just count on that, but be flexible.
Awesome stuff.
Somebody just said, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Somebody says, Snacks, what's your Facebook name?
I think it's Cynthia, and then there's a Snacks Franklin.
That is.
If you Google it, it's I think the town, it's in Dallas or something like that. But I guess I should put it out there. I'll put it on the Iron Elite.
Awesome. Because I'm sure people want to get in contact with you and want to network with you and meet you and do all kind of cool stuff with you. Do you have two things? What was your most favorable moment on your ride? What was maybe if it was in a particular country, or what was your favorite moment of your ride?
You guys gonna laugh. My favorite moment was when I got to see the penguins in Argentina.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, that's mine too. I thought the penguins dropped the mic. So what the hell?
I mean, I made it to the bottom. I got the picture. I did the jump, but the icing on the cake was the penguins. I said, I gotta go see those penguins. I don't care what else I do. I'm going to see those penguins. And I make it to those penguins, I'm done.
Hey, so question: are the penguins, are they aggressive?
Well, the ones I saw, they weren't really aggressive, but there were a lot of them. And what they prepped us before we got there. They're like, don't get emotional. Keep your voice down. Don't do anything wild. So I couldn't do my jump with the penguins. And I was like, why are they telling us? This is silly. We understand that. As soon as I got close to the penguins and I started seeing them wobble back and forth, my heart started jumping. I was like, oh, penguins.
Wow. Of all the things of going through the Andes and seeing, what's that strait down there at the bottom of South America? What is those straits called?
Is it the Magellan Strait?
Is it Magellan Straits?
I think so.
Yeah, I've seen all that cool stuff. The most memorable thing that you have is the penguins.
Well, I mean, Machu Picchu was nice, seeing part of the Seven Wonders. But the penguins made my day.
Awesome stuff. Hey, Snacks, I can do this all day. I'm not gonna hold you because this has been great. So, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast, man. We're gonna have many like this. I'm gonna bring folks on. I'm not bringing on, hey man, sorry, don't ask Sarge to come on unless you got some great motorcycle stuff you share with us. If you ain't leaving your neighborhood, you ain't gonna be on the Iron Elite podcast. I'm just telling you that now. and you got to ride. So, man, we want to be able to have more people like Snacks. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to try. This is a drop the mic moment, but we want to have more people on to talk about motorcycling great, to be able to, again, to share, and this platform be a place that you can learn without scrutiny. You can learn without fear to be the best motorcycle rider that you can be. So, Snacks, anything before we shut this thing on down for the day?
Thank
Hey,
you and happy
I
birthday.
thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you so much. I'm gonna let everybody go to get on about your Sunday. I know we got this whole football thing. Get out. Now the Iron Elite podcast might the only thing we might talk about other than motorcycling. Every once in a while, we're gonna talk a little bit about them Jags. But anyway, I'm gonna let it go. Snacks, much love and respect to you. Salute. We'll see you
Thank
soon.
you. Have a
Take
good
care.
day.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, hey man, we're gonna go ahead and shut this thing on down. Just a couple quick news and notes before I let this thing go. Is the Iron Elite paying tribute to Black History Month event, February 2nd, February 3rd, here in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Bay Metals Boulevard dealership, Harley Davidson out of Mac. So, man, I want you guys to come. It's going to be a great, great event. You're going to have a heck of a time. Friday night is going to be a mix and mingle. From the mix and mingle on Friday, Saturday at the dealership from noon to 5 is going to be the Iron Elite event. And we're going to be awarding and celebrating our 2024 Titan Award recipients. Shaquila Bussey on the female side, Gorilla Blue on the male side, man. So please make plans to come on down to Jacksonville and join us. If you're a motorcycle rider, you need to be down here, man. We're going to be networking. We're going to be talking about all the beauty of riding motorcycles. And we're going to have some of the most experienced riders down here to Jacksonville for this event. So it's going to be a good time, a fun time. I can guarantee you that. It's not going to be a party, but I can guarantee you it's going to be a celebration. So, hey, man, I'm just asking you guys right now to join us February 2nd and 3rd here in Jacksonville, Florida. On the Earn Elite page, I have in the pin section at the top all the hotel information. The host hotel is much as well as the overflow hotel. So all the news and notes are in the pin section. If you don't know, I'm trying to think. If you don't know, if you need the schedule of events for the event, the side B of the flyer will be coming out in the next couple weeks, and that's the who, what, when, and where, and how of everything, and how everything is going to play out at the event. The Slow Roll Championship, that's going to be rolled out and represented. We did a video on it a couple weeks ago. Of course, I know everybody don't look at the video, so we're going to make some news and notes on the Slow Roll Championship, the who, what, when, where, and how about the Slow Roll Championship. And then we're going to have a link for those who would like to register for the Slow Roll Championship. Let me explain really quick about the Slow Roll Championship. Let me put it this way. The reason we are having folks register for the Slow Roll Championship is because a couple of things are going to happen. First, that the ride, first of all, the belt is named after M1. For those that don't know M1, he was a giant. He was part of our elite family. He was a beautiful guy. He was a motorcycling guy. He was a community guy. As a matter of fact, M1 actually is our third Titan Award recipient. M1 actually won the first Slow Roll Championship. M1 no longer is with us today, but that belt is named after him. The first original the first original Slow Roll Championship. So the belt is named after him. All proceeds that are taken from the Slow Roll Championship, those proceeds, not all, but the majority of those proceeds are going to be given to the family on the behalf of the Iron Elite family. It's going to be given to M1's family to be able to take that money and use that money for a charitable cause in the name of M1. That's going to be our gift to his family. So that's why we're having people to register, pre-register for the race. There's not going to be any profits. There's not going to be any money, prize cash. It's not going to be none of that stuff. That money is going to be going on the behalf of the Iron Elite family to M1's family to be able to donate it for a cause in M1's name. The belt itself, and it's a beautiful WWE type belt, the Slow Roll Championship belt, is going to go to the Slow Roll champion. Second and third place, we're going to have gift cards for you guys for second and third place. But this is for a charitable cause for the Slow Roll Championship. So I know some doubts, some questions initially about this thing. So hopefully that sums it up. So in a couple of days, we're going to reset this thing. We're going to put the who, what, when, where, and why for the Slow Roll Championship and the link again. So if you want to take part of the Slow Roll Championship, we'll love you to have. If you say, hey, Sarge, I don't do the slow roll thing, but I do want to make a donation on the behalf of M1, you can also go to that link and make a donation. None of that money goes to Sarge at all, for nothing from me. It's going to go on the behalf of the Iron Elite family to M1's family to be able to use that money for whatever charitable cause they see fit in the name of M1. So hopefully I was able to clear that stuff up for you guys, man. I appreciate you guys being on with me today. The Iron Elite podcast, man, it's going to get better. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on. So y'all stay tuned. And if you hadn't done it already, man, do me a favor. Go to the YouTube page, Sarge Life and Motorcycling, and subscribe, man. Please subscribe so I can get the viewership up, so I have a little bit more flexibility on the YouTube channel. So with that being said, man, hey, y'all keep it motorcycling and enjoy your Sunday, man. Peace.